Okay. I apologize for that.
Yeah, well, I had worked in the nursing home for 30 years. I worked 15 years as a nurse's aide. And then the last 15 I worked in activities, which I really enjoyed. It was kind of hard to leave that job.
So you worked there for 30 years, and you said the first half you were an aide?
Yeah.
Like a certified nurse's
Yes.
assistant? That's really hard work.
It is. And the unit that I worked was also a 16-bed unit, so there was only 2 aides and a nurse, and that's all you had, so you had 8 people every day. And we had some pretty heavy care people. Right around the time they opened extension up, they closed Psych Center.
Oh.
So we got a lot of them. And it was challenging. It was a lot of fun at times. Got a lot of bumps and bruises. But then when I got sick with my skin, my friend and I was working in activities. And I went with her a couple times and volunteered because I had to get out of the house. I just couldn't stand sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this big facility picnic one year. And so I went over, and I figured I'd get to see everybody. And the next day she calls me, and she said, I got to tell you something. And I said, oh, she says, the girl that works with me in activities quit yesterday. And I thought, oh. So I thought about it. So I went over to the bed, and I said to the PR director, I said, is there any way I can apply for that? She goes, well, you have to be back on the schedule. So I went over to the clinic, and I have worked with a lot of the nurses and stuff over there through the nursing home and stuff. And my physician's assistant, she kept telling me I would never work again. And I told her, I said, there's a job coming up in activities, and I want to try for it. Mm-hmm. She goes, well, I'll put you back on the schedule, but you can only work 3 days a week. It was the roughest month I ever worked, because I had to work the unit.
And do activities?
No, I had to just work as an aide until they picked the activity person. So I worked, first they said it would probably be about 2 weeks, and then they had to go through the whole process of posting it and all that. Well, after the 2 weeks, they took it down. So I thought, oh no, what's going to happen now? I don't want to have to, I don't want to just go back out.
Yeah.
And they reposted it and made it a CNA position. So then I had to go for my interview, and the day before I went for my interview, my skin broke out. So I was like at work, and I had this long sleeve shirt on, and one of the nurses said, how come you got that on? She goes, lift your shirt up, I want to see your stomach, and my stomach was all full of pustules.
Oh, goodness.
So I went down for my interview, and she told me I had the job. And it was rough the first few months, because I was still going through the peel downs and all of that, and I was still kind of weak, but eventually that went into remission, and I did get the psoriatic arthritis from it, so it was hard. My hip was bad, so it was hard for me to walk, but I just kept pushing along. And then I was there probably 3 years, and my sugar went up, and it was fairly high. It was like 1,100.
Oh, wow.
And they put me on medicine. I was only out of work 3 days. They put me on medicine, and I went right back to work. And then I had like a breathing episode where I couldn't breathe. So they did a heart catheterization, and they said everything was fine, but when they did it, they found kidney stones. Of course, I couldn't be just like a normal person and have kidney stones and pass them. No, I had to have both kinds of kidney stones, the uric acid ones and the stones. So I had several Lipotriskis and different things, and then I kept getting the UTIs. Well, then we decided to move to Kentucky. So, I moved to Buffalo with the kids.
Can I just stop you there real quick? I noticed you just said, I couldn't be a normal person. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, I had the weird skin thing. And then I started with the diabetes. And then I ended up with the kidney stones, where I ended up with both kinds of kidney stones.
So do you think your sickness makes you feel not normal?
Sometimes, yeah.
What does normal look like to you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I'd say average. I mean, I guess mostly like with people I worked with, family, well, when we decided to move, well, I did move to Buffalo with the kids, with Jesse when he went to school in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about moving to Kentucky, so I thought, all right, I'd try it. And we moved down here, and the 2 days after I got here, I ended up in hospital the very first time with the hydronephrosis and the stones. And so I went through quite a bit with that for a while, off and on. I had UTIs constantly, and a lot of pain. Lost a lot of weight. Unfortunately, gained most of it back. But it gave me the strength. I got my strength back, which is good because I enjoy it with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I spend a lot of time with them. The baby's 9 months old, and he's just the sweetest thing. And my other grandson is 5. They might not be biologically mine, but as far as I'm concerned, they're mine.
They're yours. I noticed 2 times in our conversation that your face lit up. And it's when you talk about the grandbabies and whenever you talk about work. Mm-hmm. Like your face just, your whole demeanor changed.
Yeah. It was really hard when my friend passed away because her and I had been close for years. And she was a few years older than me, so it was kind of like my sister and I were 11 years apart. Mm-hmm. Jan and I were like 9 years apart, so it was kind of like, you know, it was good for me. I had a lot of my friends were either older or a couple of years younger.
Mm-hmm.
I do miss her a lot, and we did a lot of stuff together.
Like, and this is your sister, correct?
Yeah, my friend.
Your friend Jan.
Paula and I did too. Paula was 11 years older than me, and like Thursday nights she worked. It was her late night. She had to work till 5, and she worked in an office at a shoe factory. So after her accident, I would always stand by the door on Thursday nights for the longest time. I bet you I did it for at least a year.
Really?
I would go to the door and stand because I would forget. And then I would sit there and I'd think about her a little bit. And, you know, once in a while my mother would come out and say, come on, let's go get us something to drink or something. But usually she just let me stand there. We were very close, my mother and I. My father always was kind of like standoffish. He had a lot of health issues too. He had very bad arthritis and he was hard of hearing. And he always used to say, when I go, I'm taking her with me. And I never thought in a million years that would happen, but he did. 3 years later, she was gone. And she was never sick. Never, ever sick. She developed breast cancer at 70. And she really did well with it. But it came back.
Okay.
And when it came back, she went for 9 treatments, and after that she said, I don't want any more. You know, she did get to enjoy the kids. The kids were, Kyle was 6 and Jesse was, well, Kyle was 7, Jesse was 5 when she passed.
So she made that decision on her own, like she didn't want to do chemo no more.
Right. Well, she never did chemo. She just did radiation.
She did the radiation.
And she was very stubborn. She wouldn't take the pain pills, so that was kind of hard on me. And the last 6 months, well, the last 3 years she lived with me. Mm-hmm. But the last 6 months, I was having trouble with my babysitters and stuff. So, like, Jesse was going to special pre-K, and Kyle was going to his special class. Well, Jesse, the driver was really good. He would come and just toot the horn, and my mother would stand in the window, and Jesse would go down the stairs and get in the car, and he'd take him to where he had to go, and then he would bring him back and do the same thing so she wouldn't have to go down.
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't let me take him to the babysitters the last 6 months. And then after they got done with school that year, she says, I want to go and try living in my apartment. So I brought her down. She wasn't even there, I don't think, 2 weeks. And she says, I can't do it. She got in the hospital. And I was at work one day, and they called me. They said, you better get down here. She's not doing good. Well, I get down and come to find out they gave her too much morphine.
Oh, goodness.
So, and the doctor that was there, he was an old country doctor. He'd bite your head off just looking at you. Well, he never treated me that way. Like, I would go in, like, anything I wanted, he'd give me. So I remember when I went in that day, I says, oh, I want her to have some Tylenol. Maybe she'll, calm down. She'll get some rest. And
yeah.
She said, oh, you know how he is. He won't want to do that. Don't ask him. I went right out to the desk and asked him, and he did exactly what I wanted. So she was still weak. So I made arrangements for her to go to the nursing home where I worked.
Mm-hmm.
And the first few weeks, she was going to be 75. So I said to her, do you want to have cake and coffee and invite, some of your friends? Well, it ended up being cake and coffee and food, all kinds of food. And a lot of people showed up. We had a nice party. And shortly after this, she started getting weak again. And we had hospice there. We had hospice there, and one of the nurses she wasn't a team player. And at first she was on a different unit, and she was getting agitated and wasn't. And so my charge nurse called me upstairs and said, one of our residents isn't doing very good. She goes, if something happens with her, do you want your mother up here?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, what do you guys think? And the one nurse said, I don't think it's a good idea. It'll be hard for you. And then the other one said, oh, yeah, I want her,
Yeah.
So we were very close with a lot of the families. And the family, one of the wives of one of the husbands that we had came down to get me. And she said, I want you to know she passed away. And she goes, and she told me to tell you that your friend, the RN, Carlene, is on tonight. Tell Carlene what you want to do, and she'll start it for you.
Yeah.
So I did. I went down and saw Carlene, and we talked for a while, and I says, I want Mom to come upstairs. I said, it'll be easier on you got me. I says, because I'll know she's there.
Yeah.
I says, we'll work it out. So they brought her in that Monday.
Wow. That's kind of quick.
Upstairs, yeah. Well, she went and talked to the director, and she said if whatever she wants, she can have.
Did she go into the nursing home on hospice?
She went in, and no, she wasn't on hospice yet. But they had suggested it, the unit that she was on. And I thought, I'm not really crazy about it, but...
Yeah.
And most of them were good because I knew them all.
Mm-hmm.
And the one girl, Vicky, she was real sweet, and she would do anything I wanted to. And a couple of the girls that would come in, but the one RN, she just was about ready to fight no matter what. I mean, I went in one day and I thought she knew who I was, and she made some comment, and I was standing right there, and she made some snotty ass comment about no family being here and stuff like that. Well, the RN that I knew stopped her and said this is her daughter. And instead of stopping, she just continued on. And so that, and of course, unfortunately, the week that she got bad, just before she passed, she ended up being the nursing call. So
that's difficult.
Yeah, it was, because when I went in, they were giving her the shots. And she insisted, no, they didn't have to give her the shots, to give her the Roxanol in her mouth.
Okay.
And she takes the Roxanol in her mouth, and she choked on it. So my nurse, my friend that was my nurse, and my two girls that were my charges, both got mad and kind of they wouldn't even deal with her after that. So, and then I stayed with her all that day, and she did pass that night. And I went through all. I had to do everything myself, so I had to take care of it. And my aunts did come from New York, which I was grateful for, because when my father passed, they didn't come, and my mother always felt bad about that. She felt that was disrespectful to her as well as him. If they weren't going to be there because they didn't care for him, they should have at least been there for her. Well, when he passed away, he was at the nursing home too. He wasn't even there 2 weeks, and he had bad weekend, so I had left early to go to the house early to go home, to go check on him before I went up to my unit. And when I got there, one of the nurses was coming out of his room, and I knew the charge nurse, so I was talking with her, and she said, "Oh, he's doing better, blah blah blah." I go in the room, and he's gone. And so I had to...
So you went in the room to check on your father, and he was gone?
Yeah, so I called the nurse back, so she looked in and made sure, And so I said, don't call my mother, I'll go down. So I went down and told her, so, yeah. It hasn't been an easy life.
It seems like, you've been